Miguel, welcome back to Rebel Ants Radio. Thank you for joining me today. And this is the official podcast for the Rebel Ants NFT project. So I'm so glad you're here because you are the other half of Rebel Ants NFT. And we are excited to share with our audience of 5 today the latest happenings in our journey on launching this NFT project, going from like 0 to maybe 10,000, but we're taking baby steps along the way. But we're here to kind of build in public and showcase our journey, all the ups and downs, and share our learnings. So if you're into that sort of thing, definitely hit subscribe on the YouTube channel. Give us a like on Twitter or on YouTube, wherever you're watching or listening from, if you're on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. Miguel, how are you today?
From 0 to hero, buddy. From zero
to hero. We're going to get there.
We're going to get there.
Miguel, is it true that if Bitcoin hits 25,000 again, you're going to retire? Is that true?
I can retire, but I just choose not
to. You can retire, but it won't last very long.
I like my mental health being damaged at work.
Yeah, I hear that. Your mental health is much better when you're working on Rebel Ants, so you should do that more often.
100%.
Yeah. Well, listen, we have 7 people joining us. I think that's a new record for off the top of the show. So hi to everyone. Drop a comment below. Let us know what you're drinking tonight. I'm sure you're drinking something while following along with us. And I invite you all to head over to rebelants.io, where you can mint your own Rebel Ant for just 0.01. And, for better or worse, that value of 0.01 is going up over the course of time as Ethereum gets its legs back underneath it. So that's exciting, I think overall things are feeling good in the market. NFTs getting exciting. A lot of things happening in the news. Maybe we'll get to it, but we do have a lot of other things to talk about today. So before we go any further, just a reminder that at some point today, we're going to drop a secret code, which is our proof of attendance. And if you are watching or listening within the first 24 hours that the show airs, you can head over to rebelants.io/proof, drop in that secret code. And if you're the first 3 to do so, you will get a free Rebel Ant airdrop to you. So yeah, you better stay tuned for the whole show because you don't know when that secret code's coming, but it's coming, trust me.
Just don't know.
Miguel, you've been drawing a lot today. That's how I know it's your day off, because you're messaging me all day with Jeremy's coming my way. So what's up? Where are we at with Jeremy's?
We have 25 of them already ready to go. I think I sent you 3 today. Yeah, I sent you 3 more today. So I did 3 more. I worked on clothing line. I worked on the designs with our master of brands over here. So this is one of the new shirts I'm rocking.
I love it. That looks just like me. I can see myself in that shirt.
Does.
Which one am I? Which one am I? Show me which one am I? Left or right? I'm a lefty, so I'll be the one on the left. But like
the left.
But your left, not the left that I'm looking at. I want to be like your left chest side. Okay.
So that took a while to do. I needed to fix some backgrounds and like that kind of stuff. So it took a really long day today. But yeah, it's okay. I'd rather do this than do the other stuff.
Yeah. Well, it looks
100%.
Really cool. What is the idea behind you and Gina making these things by hand versus just kind of outsourcing it and letting somebody do the drop shipping through another website? Why is this the way you thought it should go?
Control of what I really want it to look like.
There you go. I dig that. Yeah. And do you think this is cheaper or easier?
It's definitely not easier.
Yeah.
And it's definitely not cheaper either.
Yeah. Okay.
It all depends. It all depends.
This is the commitment to quality, so I appreciate that.
We're the Apple of NFTs.
That's right. The Apple of NFTs. That's right. I also want to mention before I forget, before we go for too long, that we have two really exciting guests coming up this month. We have your boy, tell me his name again, Ryan Maloney.
Yes.
Yeah. Ryan Maloney is an artist who has done some NFT things, but he's a really incredible artist who has a lot to offer, I think, to our audience, and he has a lot that we can learn from him. So we're excited to get to interview him on the 19th. And then the 26th, we have Plum Inferno, who is a Web3 security expert. So we'd really love to have everyone join for that, because I could really use upping my Web3 security game. As you know, I got a ledger for Christmas and I haven't done anything with it yet. So feel free to hack me and steal all my NFTs because they're not that secure. So hopefully she'll inspire me to get my act together. But anyway, back to the show. So Miguel, you and I had a call with Bueno a couple of weeks ago. We teased it on the last episode, but they've released what that was now. Do you want to tell us more about what they were working with and what's available now?
I don't think it's fully released yet.
No, they posted it on YouTube. I assume that means it's released.
No, it's not fully released yet.
Okay. Well, I mean, they posted on YouTube, so it's really like a open edition and a way to sell smaller amounts than just like a 10,000K project. So it's open editions or, limited time or just kind of one of ones. And it kind of fits into the idea that Miguel, you and I were working on for what to do with Rebel Ants in general, right? We've got Rebel Ants already out there. There's a few Rebel Ants, combing the metaverse, but V2 are in the works. Jermies are popping out every day. And we were kind of thinking like, how do we make all this work together? And after we had that call with Bueno, we're like, that makes total sense for the Jermies, right? So your idea is 500 handmade Jermies, right?
Correct.
And we're 25 in. What percentage is that? Are we close?
We're not even close.
It's okay. We're getting there a little bit at a time. There's no rush. And there's no rush because of this idea of using this open edition method, right? Because you had talked about maybe releasing just a handful at a time, which I think really plays well with the process and the progress of where you're at with drawing the Jermies one by one. And also our idea of kind of drawing out this experience for V2. So to kind of explain what the idea was for V2, the idea for V2 would be a 5,000 profile picture, NFT project. And using those V2 ants, they would each have an association to some sort of gang or group. We haven't figured out the exact terms yet, but they'll each have an association. They'll belong to some group. And those groups will battle every week live right here on Rebel Ants Radio. And the winning group, if you hold an NFT of V2 ants with that, that's a member of that gang or that group, then you'll be rewarded, and those rewards are increased with kickers by holding a V1 Rebel Ants and Jermies. So the Jermies will be, theoretically, as of now, the Jermies will be released in open edition format with varying controls, varying specifications about how long they're available for, what the price is, if it's free, if it's not, how many there are. And then that's it. Once they're gone, they're gone, and that's it. Whoever has them, has them. But then if you're holding that, you will have higher rewards on the outcome of the V2 battles. Did I kind of sum that up the right way, Miguel?
Yeah, you did. So now let's talk about the incentives that we were planning on. Like, for example, the token that we were trying to figure out how to make and the idea behind it. You want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we were thinking about creating a token, right? And like a token on the Ethereum chain, but it would just kind of be its own value that we would just make up. And the number we were playing around with was 1 million coins, token coins. Let's just call them ant coins, or rant for Rebel Ants. We'll call them ant coins. And so a portion of that is what's distributed after each battle, right? So we've got to work on the tokenomics of this, but there would be some math where, depending on how many winning ants you had, you'd be rewarded with a certain number of tokens, right? We kind of talked about two different ways, that it's either a flat amount or an equal distribution, right? So let's say we call season 1 of the battles. Let's say there's 10 or 20 battles, and a certain amount would be released and distributed amongst the winners over after each battle. And I think the benefit of doing it as an equal distribution would be that we can kind of control how much is going out each week. And so we can kind of plan this out. If we don't really set a specific amount, then somebody could just be winning a ton of coins each week, and then we might run out much faster than we anticipated, right? Especially with these kickers. So we have to kind of plan that out. But the idea would be that you receive these coins, these ant coins, and once they're all released, there's just a limited amount of them. And that becomes its own inherent value, sort of the way any other coin has inherent value, like ApeCoin or whatever else might be chilling on the blockchain right now.
Yeah. Plus, we are also trying to intertwine the storytelling, right? So when the battles takes place, we're trying to do the battles through AI, right? And having AI create a storyline and then pick a winner. So we're not really picking the winner ourselves. We're letting the AI do it as part of the storyline. correct?
Exactly. Right. Because we are not technical. We're not developing smart contracts that do all these crazy things, but AI is all the rage. It's incredibly impressive every time I try and use it. And we were just thinking that could create some real randomness to this idea of having the gangs battle, right? So if there's 5,000 V2 ants, and maybe there's 20 gangs, 20 groups of ants, with their own cutesy title, and we tell AI to make them battle and who's the winner. And what's really interesting is you and I played around with this, right? We asked AI, we asked ChatGPT to say, hey, give us the names of 20 different ant groups or gangs. What are they called? And then we fed those names back into ChatGPT and said, hey, if all these guys had a battle, who's the winner? Which came out the winner. And what was great to see, which was sort of the hope, was there was a different winner each time, which kind of allows us to move forward with this process of saying, yeah, we can feed these names in over and over again and get a different outcome that's completely random, not controlled by you or I. And I'm sure somebody can say there's some training of the system on the back end, but we're not going to give it any more or less information each time. We're going to have the same prompt every time to try and get a variable outcome, and we will reward the winners, whoever's holding that as the outcome. So I actually have the website up for what you and I were playing around with. So let me just kind of show, for everyone who's listening on the podcast, I will do my best to explain it. So I'm going to share my screen over to ChatGPT. And this was the start of it, right? So here was my prompt: create 10 different rival gang types for an ant colony at war with itself. And this was the groups it came up with, and a little explanation as well. So we gave it very little information, and it gave us a ton of information. And as this was spitting it out, Miguel and I were looking at each other like, yes, this is so cool. Like, this is exactly it. So Gang 1, or whatever you want to call it, the Tunnelers, a group of ants that specialize in tunneling and underground warfare. They use their tunnels to launch surprise attacks on their rivals and to defend their own territory. So each one of these gangs has a bit of an explanation, which I think is really helpful for us. And then I think we asked it again to come up with 20 different gangs. So up here we have, no, that's create 10 again. But anyway, so it gave us the 10 names. And then we asked ChatGPT, we said there was a war between the gangs called the Tunnelers, the Foragers, the Warriors, the Scouts, the Builders, the Poisoners, the Snipers, Saboteurs, Healers, and the Rebels. Write a story about the winner. And you get this like 4 paragraph story with a winner at the end, right? So in example is here, it says the war was over and the rebels had emerged victorious. But when we look at another one, it's a different winner. And let's see if we can find that one. So here it says the Tunnelers were hailed as the heroes. So our idea is that we can keep feeding every week the same prompt into ChatGPT and get a different answer and kind of create this randomness, which is sort of the fun of this, because we can't control it, but we can just kind of reward those if you are brave enough to hold enough rebels that you have a chance at winning. Does that make sense?
And the good thing is that we don't even know where that's going to take us later on. If we're able to do all this, right, what's the next step after that? So, I mean, to me, it's super exciting just to see what we're doing and how we're developing all this together, right? But I think that it's going to be exciting to see what it looks like, a few years from now.
Absolutely. AI right now in the NFT space is being used mostly for creating the art or the images, right? And we're not going to do that, but I think we can integrate it into the storytelling. So maybe that's our spin, that's our angle, is that this is NFT through using AI for storytelling. So I think we played around with a couple of explanations of what that is, kind of like the 2-sentence pitch of it. But I think we will be just using AI for storytelling versus using AI to generate the art. So it'll be a different story each week. We'll save that story as a log on the website. So I sent you a clip of what I was looking at. I posted something on Twitter sort of as a teaser as to what the design will look like. So let me just pull that up again real fast and show you what I had in mind for that. And that was over here. So I've got a rough layout of a website where we kind of show the battles each week. And so at the top is a chart that we can use going, if we fill in a Google sheet with which teams or gang is the winner, it'll update live and kind of just show the distribution, which hopefully would display a lot of randomness, which could be really fun. And then each week we take the story off of ChatGPT and put it in here so we can kind of see who the winners were and just kind of share the story and have this log of battles for a very long time. It'd be really interesting to see what that looks like after, 4 months, 5 months. I don't know. What do you think?
The 4 months of battle? Yeah.
4 months of battle, just a different battle.
Pretty cool. You know what I really like about this is the part where we're intertwining the V1s as a kicker. So people will be, excited to get some more V1s, because the V1s is probably going to be the key to everything, pretty much. The tokens, the wars. It's going to be pretty cool to see people just trying to get the V1s at the price that it is, just to get these battles going.
Exactly, right. That'll be a bigger reward, right? Because we want people to buy the V1s. The idea for us has always been get people involved. We've got a comment here from Noob and Gear. What if AI chooses the war is over and everybody died and destroyed their colony? LOL, JK. That's a great question, Noob.
It's a really good question.
Re-roll it. We're just going to re-roll it, or nobody gets a reward, or everyone gets a reward. I don't know. We'll kind of see what the story there is. Maybe everyone just died equally and it was just like a true suicide. Maybe everyone gets a little reward then. But yeah, let's hope that doesn't happen. And you said, I like the idea. Cool stuff. Yeah. So we are trying to get creative with the skills and tools and resources that we have available. As we've said, we are not programmers, but we're going to use everything we can to kind of make this exciting and successful, because we want people to have fun. We want people to tune in each week and be like, oh, I gotta see what happened with the war this week. And if you've never used ChatGPT, what's really cool is you give it a prompt and then it spits it out like word by word. So you kind of follow along and creates this sense of excitement that it was fun every time you and I rolled it and got to read it out loud. So we don't have a timeline yet as to when we get there, but it's going to be really exciting, and we'll do as much work leading up to it to make sure that this is successful. And I think we're both learning a lot about the tokenomics of creating an on-chain coin, and we'll just kind of see how dirty we can get our hands with that.
Yeah, I think I'm pretty confident now that I can create the token, right? It's just now a matter how we distribute it, because I've been learning a lot in the last couple of weeks, which is the reason why I haven't been posting a lot too on Discord and all the other channels. But I think I have it down packed to create the token. We just got to figure out what the math looks like, right?
Exactly.
The battles. So.
Yeah, I want there to be some thought behind it so somebody can look at it and say, okay, that's why, right? You and I had looked at the tokenomics behind Rug Radio, and there's a very specific number of coins that are there for the creators and the listeners. And it's like, I'm sure there was a lot of thought and math that went into that. And I just want us to be as thoughtful as well, out of respect for us and our community, to say, yeah, this is not unfair. It's not being, no one's getting rugged here, but we just want it to be fair and sensible. So sorry, sensible, not sensical. That's not a word. Sensible. So we'll keep sharing our journey along the way. And, if there's anyone out there who's really good at math and game theory, we'd love to hear from you and kind of see what your thoughts are on all this and the best way to spread this out. Miguel, you and I were talking about these kickers of the Jermies count as a kicker and Rebel Ants V1 count as a kicker. We're like, well, what percentage does that count as, right? Is it like 0.02% of a kicker? With the tokenomics or the coin, you can really break it down to decimals of 8, right? So you could really get into small percentages just as an incentive. But I don't know. We got to play around with it and kind of see big picture. How quickly does 1 million coins go? Maybe the number needs to be 10 million coins. I don't know yet. So we'll keep playing around with it.
I think that's what's going to be hard about it. Is just figuring out the math. Honestly, the coding and all that stuff is pretty easy compared to just figuring out how we're going to distribute.
Yeah.
That's what's really, that's where we're really going to have to break our heads and see what we're going to do. You know what I do like about this is that the ever evolving, rolling door of what exactly it is that we're going to do. Because when you talk about a roadmap, like I mentioned I think it was in our first cast or the second one, it's an always evolving door, right? And look at us now, we didn't think we were going to go this route a few weeks ago, a few months ago, but here we are, right? So again, it's an ever evolving door. I don't think that a roadmap should be settled on just one particular thing.
I completely agree. And it is exciting because we're learning as we go, right? And we had an idea, we had a vision of V1. And, for the most part, we've kind of done that. It didn't get obviously as much traction as we want, but we're going to keep going. We're here, episode 16 of Rebel Ants Radio. That's 16 weeks in a row, which I never thought we'd get here, only because it took us so long to get started, right? And at some point, I think you and I were both like, let's just do it. Let's just turn it on, hit record, and just kind of see what happens. And we've gotten more comfortable each week. We've got some amazing guests that we've already had. We've got some great guests coming up. And I'm very excited about where we're going. Even if no one minted another Rebel Ant V1 ever, I'd still want to keep doing this and kind of see where it goes with playing around with the AI.
Yeah, and me and you chatted a lot about bringing other people into the podcast, crypto experts, etc. So I think we're gonna explore that too, right? We're exploring artists, NFT artists, regular artists, and maybe who knows? Maybe one day we could get musicians in here. Who knows where it'll take
I love
us.
it. Let's get anyone, right? Every time I see someone on Twitter with like an interesting take or perspective, I'm like, oh, maybe they could come on the podcast, right? Like, why not, right? There's no timeline for us to have people on here. We can just keep doing it every week if we really wanted. Though this week is just you and I, but that's good because we have a lot to catch up on. And next week, we're kind of unsure of what that looks like. You and I attempted to do a Twitter Spaces last week. It was a bit of a flop, but for probably obvious reasons, because we didn't really promote it. We didn't tell anyone.
Yeah.
I just posted it in the morning without any real announcement. I just scheduled the spaces, but I just wanted us to kind of play around, just kind of see how does this work. And it's probably better that no one showed up because you and I were messing around with, co-hosting and dropping out left and right. And we ended up just bullshitting and just talking about work and some personal things. And I was like, this is all being recorded, right? So maybe next week, out of respect for the Super Bowl, we will maybe do something later in the week, maybe a Twitter Spaces, record that and put that up as a podcast, and we'll make up the number for whatever episode that is, which I didn't realize as I was doing all this, but when I created the studio feed for Ryan's guest spot with us, I called it episode number 16, and I was like, oh wait, there's like 2 more weeks before that, right? So I needed to kind of keep changing the numbers of the titles because I was just thinking he's the next guest, that's the next episode. We did 15 with Carlos, Ryan would be 16, but there's 2 weeks in between that, so I have to be smarter about naming these episodes.
You messed that up.
I sure did, but luckily on StreamYard, once you update the title, it reflects on YouTube pretty quickly. And I also learned with planning for our following guest, Plumferno, that I can create the studio in StreamYard so that it generates the link without actually pushing it to YouTube. So this way it's not creating some, weird things happening that we don't want to happen yet.
Well, it looks like StreamYard is updating a lot of the stuff. So let's see what happens.
Yes,
maybe StreamYard tools that we can use.
Yeah, they've got some good things coming out. They added a feature that you and I just saw as we logged in today, which allows you to have like a second title underneath your name. So maybe it'll be like my actual name and then my social handle, which wasn't available before. So let's play around with that next week. We'll figure that out. And you and I have also talked about how StreamYard is going to be releasing the ability to cut clips into like a vertical, like a portrait layout. So you can use it on YouTube for shorts or reels on Instagram, whatever it is, which would be really good for us to be able to share content that way, just little clips of our show, because right now it's not that easy to do it that way. I've been looking for clips that are just, normal screen ratio of just, things that I thought were interesting or valuable to put out. But this will make it a lot easier to take out really any 1 minute segment that we want, including all my amazing intros to the show.
You know what it is? It's hard to control like all the socials at the same time. Like a lot of times when I'm posting, like on TikTok, I'm like, crap, I got to post on Instagram, or I got to say something on Discord. Like Discord has completely become like so hard to even look at. It's I don't know if you had time to look at Discord. Have you?
I'm in there every once in a while. I posted about today's show with the link, or maybe it was last night I posted it with the link. I'm just trying to kind of share what we're doing. I'm not doing a great job of engaging. I'm just kind of post things in there just so it looks like there's still something happening. Maybe it's not every day, but I want people to know that we're doing things on the reg.
Yeah, we need a social handler.
We do need a social handler. Any volunteers out there, raise your hand. You know how to find us at Rebel Ants on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you, but just don't try and scam us for anything. We are on to you. Also, just talking of some specifics about the show and the naming of things, I had messaged you about our show doesn't say anything in the title or the thumbnail art about NFTs. And I was like, oh, I wonder if that's impacting us, that people can't find us, whether it's on Spotify or just searching for NFT things. We don't show up, right? Mm-hmm. So I'd sent you an idea for like an updated title with a thumbnail. So I will share the screen here just to kind of show what my suggestion was. And I made the change already, but I'd be interested to hear from our viewers and listeners what their feedback is on that. So we had previously just been Rebel Ants Radio. I added the tag here of the NFT show for the little guys, and we updated the thumbnail to have that title, that little tag at the bottom there. Hopefully that allows us to show up more easily or to be found as people search for NFTs, or just to give somebody a sense of what is this if you're looking at just the thumbnail. I know not every show does that, but we don't have a reputation right now. So I wanted us to just kind of be like, oh, there's an NFT thing. Let me go listen. Because that's how I am. I'll go listen to anything that says NFT. So my hesitation to you was, is it weird to say the little guys? Is that too gender specific? Is it common enough that people know what that term means, the little guys or you guys? So I'd be interested to hear from our listeners and viewers. Is that okay? Is it okay to say the little guys? Because that's kind of what we've always been, right? We've always said we're representing the little guys.
I think I told you that for me, it didn't matter. Like when I read it, it's everybody. You know what I mean? It's not
right.
Specific to anything.
Let's hope so. I think it is okay too. I just try to be conscious or aware of these things, and I just want to be mindful of how it might impact other people.
Is that the HR person in you?
This is the HR in me. Everything needs to be really carefully thought out. I don't want anyone pointing at us that we're not considerate or woke. I am very woke, Miguel. Okay, and just me even saying that shows how woke I am, because I know what it means to be woke.
If you say so, I take your word for it.
Oh, I'm woke, all right.
Let's talk about some news stories.
Yeah,
you there yet or not yet?
I was going to transition into that with open editions and tell you how I've been complaining all week about this Jack Butcher VV checks. So we mentioned the open edition example, use case for the Jermies, but there's been some other interesting open editions happening around the internet. Probably the most popular one right now is from Jack Butcher with the Checks project. Mm-hmm. And I will share my screen again and kind of show everyone what that is if you're not already familiar, but Jack Butcher has an NFT released. That is certainly not it. That is not what I want to show you. Maybe he changed the image. Is this the wrong checks? Visualize value. So
it's the wrong one.
This is the wrong one, but that was him. I don't know what happened. All right. I don't know how to do this anymore. I was going to show the the Checks project from Jack Butcher. It was sort of a commentary on society about the Twitter check and being verified. And he had done that as an open edition, meaning there was not exactly a set limit to how many of those would be available. It was maybe just open for a certain amount of time, and you can mint as many as you wanted. And it was $8. And the reason it was $8 was because that's how much the Twitter blue check mark was, per month. So basically saying this is the same cost. Here's all the checks you can have. And I follow Jack Butcher because I've been a fan of his for a couple of years now. And I remember seeing him post that, and I was like, all right, maybe I should grab one. And then I looked at it again on OpenSea a couple of weeks later after the mint was closed. And I was like, oh, it's like 0.04 now. I was like, oh, it's gone up a little bit. Maybe I should grab one or two. And I think I made an offer on the collection for like 0.03. And nobody took it, of course. But now that project is a floor or has a floor price of 1.7, it's just completely skyrocketed. And what I think is really interesting about this project, and I've listened to a few interviews of his, is he didn't know where it would go from this, right? He thought he was just putting out this open edition NFT. And because of how popular it's gotten, he's created this burn mechanism where you have to burn, multiple editions of this to get a different image of the checks. It was a grid of checks with like 64 checks. And then you burn a few to get to another type of grid with less checks, burning all the way down to like one black check. And it cost millions of dollars to be able to do that based on the floor price now. But I just thought it was interesting that he pivoted to say, hey, this thing was more successful than I thought it was. Let me do something else with it. And that gives me hope for us and kind of makes me feel like that's kind of what we're doing, right? We're saying, hey, let's pivot and evolve from this and kind of see where it goes.
Yeah, that's an interesting project. But like I wasn't really too into details with it. But it seems like it was really thought out. Like I think that maybe he has a pretty good team behind him that really thought about how to pivot and really change the trajectory of that project, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's him and a couple of other guys worked on this project, and it's, visually it's very well done, the balance and the design, but that's what he does. That's what he's known for. His company is called Visualize Value, and it's just a lot of visuals, things similar to this. So I would definitely suggest checking out his YouTube channel. He has a lot of free content that kind of helps understand what he's all about and helps people kind of be on their way to being creators. But that was my my regret for the last 2 weeks, and I've been texting you every time the floor was going up. I was like, oh great, now the floor is at 1. Oh great, now the floor is at 1.5. Yeah. Oh, it's almost 2, but I'm done. This is it. I'm getting it off my chest. I am over the VV checks, and we'll move on to other things. But this has actually inspired a lot of other versions of the checks, and so one of them I wanted to share was our friend from a couple of episodes back, Eric Rhodes. He put out a checks of his own called Potatoes, Visualized Potatoes. And this this was free. No, sorry, this wasn't free. This was 16 cents to mint. 16 cents to mint. And I think it was open from yesterday to today. I did grab a few just because it was nearly free. And I respect Eric and I respect the checks. And now I feel like I have my own version of it from the Visualized Potatoes. So a lot of additions out there, a lot of variations on it. And I think if you were to look anywhere in the NFT space right now, you'll find some other grids like that. So Miguel,
is that still open?
Maybe. Oh yeah, it might actually be. I think it went open this morning at like 8 a.m. Maybe it was open for 24 hours.
I missed it.
I'll send you a couple.
How many did you get?
I think I got 10. I think the whole thing was $7 because gas was like $5. Gas was quote unquote a lot. I don't know if $5 is a lot anymore for gas. You and I used to spend hundreds on gas for a transaction. Now it's like, ooh, $5. I don't know about that.
Yes, $5.
Yeah. But I'm happy to support Eric. And there was another open edition. I'm a real sucker for these open editions from our other prior guest, Alyssa. She had an open edition as well, and it was more within my price range to have one of her pieces of work. So I'm excited to be an owner of hers now. Whereas I know that you picked up one of the other ones from the impersonations collection.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And sent us a handwritten note.
Yeah. Can you tell us what you got in the mail?
This is from Alyssa for us. Thank you for buying her thing. And then she put a handwritten note with her signature, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, very thoughtful.
I have it here safe for us.
It's good. We're going to put it on the board. I don't know what board, but we're putting it on a board somewhere. Be like our network board or something. But yeah, so I'm kind of into the open editions thing. I'm a sucker for it. I know some people are not a big fan, but what's your take on it? Is it too much? Is it a money grab?
It all depends on what's behind it. Because I think we're planning on doing almost the same thing, except for me and you haven't decided yet if we're gonna do open all the jerseys or if we're gonna just do a few of them, right? We still haven't decided 100% yet what we want to do. I think I want some of them number 10 or in increments of 10. Those should be like unique ones.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, there are some pretty cool jerseys. Like for example, we did the one for Pablo Stanley. Well, not really Pablo, but for his collection.
Right, Humankind.
Yes, Humankind. Yeah, sort of a tribute to it, which is in black and white. So that came out pretty cool. I think we posted it in a few places. But I'm gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna keep doing that every 10. Do a unique one so that it's different than the rest. Maybe the color palette. Maybe I don't know the way the jersey looks. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, what I thought was interesting about this idea of saying, okay, we're going to release 500 jerseys, but just kind of over time is you can make it real topical, right? So maybe we release one during Halloween and it's kind of Halloween themed, or we release one when there's other events happening in the world and we can make it really specific to that, which I think gives it a little more meaning than a random jersey that just comes from the collection. So I think this could be a fun thing for us to play around with, right? Just kind of creating more variables, more unknowns.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I mean, jerseys, it's free-flowing art. You know what I mean? It just changes every day. It's something different. That's the reason why I wanted to hand draw them every single day. Something different.
Yeah.
It just gives me that freedom to do whatever I want. You know what I mean? There's no perfect lines. If you look at the jerseys, there's no perfect lines. There's no like symmetry. There's no like real straight forward lines. You know what I mean? It's all like squiggly lines and like it's just free form. You feel it, you draw it. There goes the jersey.
Yeah, I love when I get one in my text message from you because I'm always like, okay, this one doesn't look like the other ones. Like, how many more of these could you do that don't look like a prior one? So I'm excited to kind of see where you take this and what the
each one is different.
like. Yeah, each one is very different. So It's fun for me to kind of think of like a tagline to pose on it when I post it on YouTube, and just kind of think like, all right, what do I feel from looking at this one? So something a little kitschy each time. So, all right, what's in the news that is on your mind? What are you thinking about?
The Doodles Genesis obviously is one. Disney was another thing that popped in my head. The Amazon thing, and then just in general the crypto market, and then Snoop Dogg did something with NFT.
I didn't see the Snoop Dogg thing. Let's start with the first thing you said though, the Doodles, because you and I had talked about like, we want to get into the Doodles, obviously not at the floor price it's in now, but Doodles 2 is coming out. So how can we get a piece of that? And I'd heard on a Twitter space or a podcast or something that if you're a holder of the Genesis box, then you'll have early access into the Doodles 2 option. So I text you like, hey, let's go halvesies on a Genesis box, which had slowly been going up in floor price as I said that to you, and we were able to snag one for 0.23 ETH, which, it's not cheap by any means, but it's not nearly as much as an actual Doodles or even the duplicator, which is another part of the process they have going on. So we were able to get a Genesis box at 0.23, and the floor has actually gone up a little bit now because it dropped to like 0.17. Now it's back up to 0.25. So we're basically rich is what I'm saying. But yeah, so you're really into Doodles, even though you're not a holder. So kind of tell us, what about Doodles excites you?
I think what I really like about Doodles is how they're changing the game. Like I think they're doing so many creative things that it's new stuff that's unheard of. Everything is new in the NFT space, but I think that Doodles is really like taking it far beyond. Like they're really thinking about how to move the space forward, and I like that. And also their founders are very like engaged with the community.
Right.
So we're hoping to get one of them on our podcast. I mean,
we're trying. We're soliciting hard.
We're trying. Let's see what happens. Hey, he did answer us, so
he did. I think we got a strong maybe, right?
Yeah, we got a strong maybe. So we'll see what happens in February. So stay tuned.
Yeah, they are very busy. And have you seen what they're doing with Doodles 2, or kind of what's happening on the other blockchain that they're working with, Flow?
I've seen bits and pieces. I mean, I know about the animation part. I also, I know about obviously the Genesis box and all the new projects with the changing the gear and the duplicator. I don't know if you got to see it, but I think it's pretty cool, man. Like they have all these things going on all in the same like month.
They do have a lot going on here. I'm going to pull up real fast just the website that they have for their Doodles 2 marketplace. So Doodles 1 looks just like what we're seeing here, which is these bright pastel colors, some really great imagery. Eyes are typically off the head somewhere. And Doodles 2, the idea is that you can kind of customize your doodle with the same sort of motif of their prior drawings, but you can customize them down to the socks and the shoes that they're wearing. And in order to do that, you need a duplicator, which allows you basically to take your doodle from the Ethereum blockchain and move it into Flow. Flow is another L1, but it has, I think, maybe free, like no gas fees. So you can do these kind of interactions and exchanges more readily. And so you bring your doodle into the Doodles 2 onto the Flow chain, and then you can kind of swap out the jacket and the shoes and the socks for whatever you're willing to pay. I think there are some things that went for $25,000 for a sweatshirt, and I think there were socks going for like $19. So it's really as much as you want to put into it to kind of customize it. But yeah, it's definitely innovative, and I think they're doing it successfully, where others have not really been able to kind of translate that to let you customize your NFT the same way.
Yeah, so I really think that Doodles they put all their resources into the project again. So I think it's a good project, man. I think that they're really moving the space ahead.
Yeah, they've talked about kind of wanting to be really in the entertainment field. Like they want to be a media brand, not just an NFT. Mm-hmm. They just want to be the most recognizable media brand, not even NFTs. They're just thinking bigger than that. So I really respect that, and kind of excited to follow on the way. Hopefully we can grab a Doodle 2 once it's available for us, which I think is next month. And we're happy to kind of share that process along the way.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, what else? What else was in the news?
Disney. Bob Iger took over Disney again, not that long ago. Which I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of Bob Iger. I read his book. It's amazing. Yep.
Yeah, very good book.
He talked about representing, like all the beloved Disney characters through NFT technology. So I don't know what that's going to look like, but it's definitely interesting to just hear them say that or even speak about NFTs.
Yeah, they've been hinting at things that I think are leading to other NFT or metaversey things as well. They're talking about customizing content by the viewer. So I think you could do that if you kind of knew what somebody was holding in that sense, right? If somebody's wallet was connected to their Disney account somehow and you knew what was in there, it kind of helps tailor certain content to it. So maybe watching a show earns you a token, but now they can kind of see as well what kind of shows are you into. I'm sure there's some level of data they already have on that, but they're definitely talking about customizing the experience by the user and involving some sort of blockchain technology. So it'll be really cool to see what they do with it, right?
Yeah, it should be definitely very interesting. I mean, Disney has the potential to do a lot with NFTs and bring it to the masses and obviously educate people on what NFTs are. So I think it'll be huge. I think it'll be a huge win-win.
Yeah, they definitely have the size and the resources to do it. Plus, they have, like so much imagery from the whole Disney catalog. They could really use that however they wanted and kind of try different things. So it'd be really exciting to see how they push that forward.
Yeah, definitely interesting. And then Squiggles, I don't know if you heard about this whole Squiggles situation.
No, what's a squiggle?
So the Squiggles NFT project, you never heard of it?
Never. Fill me in.
They're pretty big, so look it up. So their founder is being investigated for fraud and laundering. So yeah, just not cool. I mean, once again, like
it's not cool.
Someone else is trying to take advantage of the space. You know what I mean? Like, especially for a big project like Squiggles. I mean,
yeah, this can't be it though, right? Because what I've got on my screen here is no floor price. It's because they're all not listed.
No, that looks like it.
Yeah, this is the project you're talking about? Squiggles Official.
Yeah, that should be it.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to their homepage. Yeah, that does look like it. Wow, so why is he being investigated? What did he do?
He's being investigated for money laundering and fraud, so not good.
not good is right. This doesn't give a good name to NFTs.
But, I feel like our YouTube channel crashed or something. Or am I wrong here?
It says we're still live on YouTube. We got 2 people watching. Maybe it's you and me. I don't know. Yeah. If you're watching, comment below. Let us know you're still here with us through all this rambling. Here we go. 43 minutes in. Say hi in the comments if you're watching. Why, did you see the feed end somewhere else?
Yeah.
Really? That would be a first for us. But yeah, it says we're still happening here.
All right, well, we'll keep going.
Yeah.
So anyway, so that happened with Squiggles. And then moving on to the Snoop Dogg news. Snoop released an $8 open edition for 72 hours. Once again,
is it open now?
Editions. Yeah, it's still open.
Did you get one?
Oh, no.
Why not?
I don't know. I wasn't into it. But I thought the news was important because
I want one now.
So
Mr. Open Edition.
If he reaches 42 mints, like he's giving away like a vintage card to somebody.
Jesus.
Yeah, so some pretty cool stuff there.
Where can I find this? Oh, here we go. It's called XYZ.
XYZ, yeah, that's it.
Is it on Manifold like all the other ones?
I think it's a Manifold, yeah.
Want a link? Link me.
So, what happened with Amazon? Do you have the full story or no?
I don't have the full story, but I know that they talked about wanting to be in the NFT space, and they finally came out publicly saying that they are going to be committing resources to it. So we've got a comment here that says, "Still live, LOL. Thank you for laughing out loud. We're back up to 4 viewers. So We're not dead, Miguel. Okay, we are thriving here. We just doubled our viewers in a matter of minutes.
Weird.
If we keep going this way, we'll be at 1 million in no time.
We were up in the 8s, 11s, and then crashed down to like 2.
Yeah,
now we're at 6.
I've got a link here. I'll share my screen just so kind of people can see what we're talking about. But the story goes that Amazon NFT initiative coming soon, exclusive. We're looking at blockworks.co, and this article is from January 26th. So yeah, they're saying they're going to be committing resources towards NFTs. Now, that doesn't mean images. I don't think anyone's thinking this is just like profile pictures, but they're speculating that it's going to be really easy, almost like a one-click purchase from Alexa almost to buy something, that you can do the same thing with NFTs through Alexa, through Amazon. Hopefully it's not just another marketplace, right? We don't need more marketplaces. Coinbase didn't do such a hot job with that. They're basically shutting that thing down, even though they're not saying they're shutting that thing down. But I think Amazon will do something much better than that, right? They have such an amazing technical back end. I'd love to see what they give us from an NFT space.
Yeah, but you know what? There was a rumor this week about Apple almost doing the exact same thing. So we got to wait and see. I think there's a lot of good stuff happening this year for NFTs and crypto in general. So
absolutely.
We're going to have to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, I welcome the competition. I don't mean like from Rebel Ants, but like, you know, if Amazon's doing something, Apple's doing something, it's all good for us. It's all good for the space. And if people fail, okay, you know, maybe there's something to learn from that, even though it might give a bad name to whatever NFTs are to the public mass. But I'm happy to see people trying and thinking that there's a future there and it's worth committing money to.
Yeah. I'm celebrating the crypto space. For the last month, we've been up in the green. So
yeah. Yeah, it makes me feel a little better at night. Yeah, that's right. All right, what else we got? Was that it?
Doodles Animation Studio. We talked about that a little bit.
Right.
The OpenSea drops. What was that about?
Yeah, they've, you know, if you go to their homepage now, they're much more focused on celebrating drops that are coming up. And it's cool to see. You know, I feel like we missed it by a couple of months, but they're very focused on showcasing things. They've been doing a lot of Twitter spaces, talking about upcoming drops. And if you allow me to share my screen one more time here, you'll see right at the top, we're on OpenSea.io. There's an option now for drops right next to stats and resources. And if you go to drops, there's this great imagery to help promote things that are coming up. Now, I don't know if they, you know, vet these before posting them, but like I said, they've been doing a Twitter space almost daily, it seems like, to kind of promote something that's coming out. And it's a great way to kind of showcase a project that's coming up. Whereas, you know, you and I used NFTcalendar.io, and there's all these other websites that kind of show drops, but OpenSea probably has the most traffic out of any other NFT site. So this is the place you'd want to be to get listed on. So I think it's great that they're doing it. I think they're obviously trying to innovate because they have a lot of competition as a marketplace too. And they're just trying to leverage their traffic, which I'm all for.
Are they randomly picking someone to showcase, or is that like you have to apply for it?
I'm not sure. I think we should go through it though for V2 for, you know, because that'll come before all the Jeremys are out. But I think we should do it for V2. We should apply to get in there and show them that we've been supporting them for a very long time.
A very long time.
A very long time we've been giving OpenSea our percentages.
Yeah. All right, what else we got? We got we talked about Flora acquires WGMI. What was that?
Yeah, so Floor is an app that is sort of like a members-only app, although they've expanded the access. So Floor is a really great NFT app because it allows you to see your wallet. It has a watch list and has some really good insights. And you and I, as Robato's holder, were given access into that. So I have access to the Floor app because I had a Robato in my wallet. So that's how I got like a free invite to pass to it. But they also just acquired this other company, which was really just like statistics, WGMI. And it's really expanded what they're going to be able to do, kind of combining this great front end with this really powerful back end and just kind of growing who they are. It's a very big acquisition dollars wise. And it's exciting again to kind of see them wanting to grow and provide more value. Right now, as you know, it's really difficult for a project to communicate directly with its holders unless you're basically on social media, right? They don't really know how else who else you are. But through the magic of WagMe, the site that they acquired, and the Floor app, they're working on ways to control or to offer communication to holders. So basically allowing, let's say Doodles, for example, to push a message out through Floor to anyone with a Doodles in their wallet. Imagine being able to communicate now directly with your holders, which hasn't really been able to be done too much before, right? Does that sound unique, or have you seen that elsewhere?
Yeah.
Like before, you had to be in their Discord. That was basically it.
Yeah, I mean, that was pretty much it. There was nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Reality. You know what's funny?
So interesting.
I was looking at the news thing that we have here, and I came across the one that you put in here for Game of Thrones. So let me tell you something. There's been so much criticism behind this NFT. It's insane.
Yeah.
And if you look at the NFT itself, I mean, there's reason why. Like, if you look at the NFT itself, it's just terrible. It's not.
Yeah. Should we try and bring it up?
You can bring it up, yeah. I mean, I know that I'm not the greatest artist in the world, but someone like Game of Thrones and HBO and all these people put it out in NFT, you better have some serious artists in there. Like,
right. It's like, why not, right? I've got CNET.com pulled up. The article here is Official Game of Thrones NFT Collection. No creative vision and terrible is the title of the article.
Terrible.
Yeah, I know a lot of people talked about the hands. It's kind of hard to zoom in here, but how terrible the hands looked like on any of these characters. And even right here it says, when an official Game of Thrones NFT set hits the blockchain, regardless of your opinions on non-fungible tokens, you might at least expect the art to look good. Alas, no. So really not good at all. And it's just so interesting, right? I heard on another podcast, the Floorcast, where they're like, somebody approved this, right? Somebody drew this, thought it was good. Somebody approved this, thinking it was good. Yeah. It's like, how does that happen?
Just weird. Yeah. And if you look at the artwork, it actually looks like it's AI generated too.
It's almost like Polygon AI generated, where like the limbs aren't connecting the right way. It's like, what's going on here? Who approved this?
The weapons don't touch.
The
hands, like, and they still sold out. They still sold out.
Trump stuff sold out too. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean it's good. Or it doesn't mean the lesson is it doesn't have to be good. It'll still sell out.
And here we are, the little guys battling just to sell something at 0.01 while people are buying Game of Thrones NFTs that have hands that don't even match.
Yeah, come on, people. If you are listening, I don't care if you own a Rebel Ant already, you need to go get another one. It's not that much money. Just make us feel better. Come on, support us as the little guys, please. Rebelants.io/ No, that's it. Just rebelants.io and you can mint it. Yeah, we all need to quit. We want to retire early. So, oof. All right. I think that does it for us, Miguel. I think we've exhausted everything here. Even though it didn't feel like we did a lot this week, there was still a lot to talk about. So I'm glad we got this time to catch up. Just you and I, no guests intruding our space here tonight. And I appreciate how many people watched and stayed watching the whole time. So pleasure to have you with us as always. And we look forward to connecting next week, whatever that looks like. But in the meantime, make sure you like and subscribe this video or subscribe to the channel. And you can find us again on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you want to find us. Just give us a like or a rating, preferably 5 stars. Who can say? I don't know if we deserve that, but I'll take the 5 stars, please. We appreciate you joining along, and we will talk to you all soon. We hope to engage with you, interact with you. Come find us on Twitter at Rebel Ants. And we're happy to kind of share everything we got going on there. So hope to do it again. We'll keep doing this. All right, Miguel. Have a great night.
Did you drop the keyboard tonight? You did?
Oh my God. You're right.
Wow,
I totally forgot it. Woo! I wanted people to wait till the very end. That was a fail. All right, the secret code is open. Woof, you had to wait 54 minutes to get this code. So head over to rebelants.io/proof, drop in the code OPEN, and you'll have a chance to win a free Rebel Ant airdrop to you by Miguel, covering the $4 gas. So thank you for that. So thanks for the reminder. Yes, this is your secret code for the episode, OPEN, as in open edition. So I hope you come drop that over at rebelants.io/proof. All right, Miguel, what else did I forget this time?
I think that's it.
I don't need this from you anymore. All right, this is it. Goodbye.
All right, we're done. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.